Welcome, Radical Ones, to another episode of the Radical Retro Rewind podcast. We are continuing with the Friday the 13th series, and my brother David is back. I can't wait to get into this particular one because I think David is really going to appreciate the lead actress / character in this movie named Trish. This is Friday the 13th, the final chapter? Question mark? Spoiler, David, it doesn't end.
I was horrified and aroused.
Ooh. Yeah, this actually has probably, I would say, the most sexual things going on out of all the Friday movies, but...
yeah, maybe.
A lot of sex, Doublemint twins. There's a lot going on in this movie, David. This is 1984, Friday the 13th, the final chapter. It was intended to be the final chapter, as this is why, evidently, Tom Savini came back to do the makeup again, because he did the makeup in Jason in the first movie, the little boy, and believing that this would be the final chapter, he came back to do Jason's makeup again. Well, that didn't happen.
We know that didn't happen. So I actually have a pretty good amount of notes that I wrote for this movie because picture it, Sicily, 1987. Actually, when did this come out?
1984.
Okay.
So a lot happens with this, David. Yeah, let's just get right into it. It starts with a recap of the first three movies. So I gotta say, it's a good summary.
Yeah, that's what I wrote. I said, starts with a recap, flashbacks of other movies, people talking around a campfire.
Yes.
Are they in Camp Crystal Lake? Where are they? Has the story of Crystal Lake spread through the other camping communities? Is this like something you say, submitted for the approval of Midnight Society? I give you Crystal Lake because did they get killed, those people? Because I don't see them anymore.
That is the group actually from part 2 that actually does, yes, they indeed all get murdered. Well, half of them go out. It's funny, the people that stayed home, the good kids that stayed home in the cabin and didn't go out get murdered in that one. The kids that go out drinking actually are spared because they're not home when the killing happens. So there goes that theory that it's the drugged, drinking ones that always get killed. Nope.
It's everyone's fair game. It's just you have to be on the property, I think.
And Crystal Lake evidently spans to every part of this area is Crystal Lake.
All of North America and parts of Canada. So
there's
Jason
cabins to rent. There's everything here.
Jason's like, get off my lawn, you damn kids, or I'll kill you.
Literally. And he's got a lot of lawn. He's got a lot of lawn to cover. So at the end of the last film, part 3, Jason was left for dead in the barn, which is where we pick up right now, David, with the EMTs. Did you like that EMT, the lady that was kind of like, she was shook over what happened. She was looking around like, oh my God, this is something else. There's 2 EMTs. You kind of think that maybe they're going to end up dead.
Yeah, you almost do for a minute. And then you realize too that they're also annoyed because it feels like they were rushed to get there and the person's like, they're all dead. And they're like, oh, well, shit. I could have at least finished my Danish and coffee at the station. I had to get over. They're all dead. They don't need any help right now. Right.
Great. That's right.
And then you see there's a helicopter.
Yeah, so I gotta say, this is a grand opening. This is like they were pulling out all the stops. There was a helicopter. I feel like this had a bigger budget than the previous 3 movies. Helicopter. Jason is supposedly dead. We see his hands, and they are, my God, he's got some brutal hands.
There is a reference, and I'm not sure if it's after everything is taken care of in the actual camp. They're moving bodies, and the police are starting to dissipate. I don't know what part this comes from. There's a reference either by a policeman or paramedic, and I'm not sure if this takes place in the hospital where Jason's body is transferred. He says something to the effect, he's leaking the white stuff. This time they got him, or he's the one leaking the white stuff, and they finally got him. I didn't
get that. What was that? I don't understand that either.
I think they were making reference to which one of them is the killer, like the bad guy, and they're like, maybe he's the one that's leaking the white stuff. They got him this time. They're also making reference, if you think about it, to like that supernatural. He's not leaking blood. Some kind of white. I mean, at least that's what I got from it.
I was like, what are they talking about, the white stuff? I mean, I assumed, yes, that this time, the killer got killed, but yeah, what was the
white stuff, baby? No, it's the right stuff. Really turn me on.
We go to an 80s hospital, David, with depressing brown. This is definitely an 80s hospital. This place was depressing. Brown panels, dark brown, everything yellow.
Frizzy, teased up hair to the heavens. Where nurses dressed like little hoochies, little
and
skirts.
Still had the little nurse hats on, which, did those ever serve a purpose, or is that just to say that I am a nurse?
I don't know. Reminds me, I always think of the flying nun with Sally Fields. The big hat,
Yes.
like the habit or whatever. Or pierogies. You know, pierogies are shaped like, they make pierogies shaped like that.
The nurse's hat of pierogies. Yeah. So we get Jason. There is a gentleman here. His name is, I don't know why they give these people names. Like I always say, that they're here for a minute. The coroner is called Axel Burns, and we have Nurse Robbie Morgan.
We got Axl Rose and Robbie Williams.
Margaret Robbie. What's that one that's popular now? The one who played Tanya Harding and Harley Quinn.
Margot? Not Maurice, like you tried to name the other woman from the first one.
She will forever be Maurice. The coroner is eating David. He puts like a bagel on top of Jason. I think it's a bagel.
Yeah, I wrote that down. Disgusting coroner eating on top of the body with no gloves. Axel.
Oh. And even the EMTs are kind of like disgusted by this guy.
They're like, just sign the paper so we can leave. Which is smart on their part because they lived. It's like the Subaru commercial. They got away. We then cut to, it's night now, and he had propositioned a nurse earlier to like meet him to have a little fun. So she goes into the coroner's office, and it's dark now, but he's watching a video of 3 women doing sexual jazzercising.
Have you ever seen a jazzercise like this where they like grind their asses into each other?
Maybe it's like an 80s porn or something. I put he's flirting more like harassing a nurse, and then he's watching what appears to be an exercise video with provocative dancing with women in leotards.
It's actually the best way of putting it.
Provocative dancing, exercising in leotards.
So she comes in to act like she wants to watch the news, and the news is reporting what happened to the kids and talks about the body, aka Jason, that's in the coroner's office with them. But he keeps trying to switch back onto this jazzercise, which evidently is to put him in the mood, because I don't think this is turning her on. Well, maybe it is, but she keeps trying to get back to the news. But David, at one point, she goes for it. She throws her pen down and everything, and she just goes for this guy, and they're making out.
And then Jason's hand falls down.
And what was that? He says every curse in the world, including Christmas. He's like, oh, Christmas, oh, God, oh, yeah, oh, God. Like, he's taken back by this.
Well, he should have put Jason away already.
Why didn't he put the body on it? She even says, like, get rid of this body. If we're going to have sex, in front of the bodies, might as well put this one away.
Get rid of it, mommy.
Less unicorn.
So I said they start making out, and then there's a part where she leaves because she's disgusted with the whole thing, and then she got touched by a gross dead body, and she goes into like the med room and starts going like absolute batshit. Like I put overworked nurse. She's like throwing stuff. David, God, like she's like. It's like the poor nurses that have been dealing with COVID on their like 17th straight shift of 12 hours. Like she's like, I can't take this place.
David, okay, so I was going to ask you. Well, first off, she says to him, you are the Super Bowl of self-abuse, as she zips up her nurse's gown. But then, yes, she goes into that room, David. So she evidently wasn't on her break. She goes right back into work. But do they leave in hospitals like... this is how they store the medical equipment, all open and like looks like
that was a med room and a supply room. So when you work in a hospital, depending on where there's pharmacies built into the hospital, there's also med rooms in certain like ICUs, but that stuff is locked up. Anything that is like, what do I put this, like an opioid or anything like that, a lot of stuff, anything dangerous is typically locked up, and you have to have some sort of a code to get into the room,
which makes sense.
But other materials like IV bags and tubing and like silly stuff could be in a room that's unlocked. Linens, changing beds, things like that.
Do you think this was a set, or was this actually part of a hospital? Did it look like put together as a set, like a fake? Because it looked like random glass bottles with like clear liquids.
I don't think, honestly, was it filmed in a hospital or was it filmed on a stage?
I mean, the rest of it looks like a hot, right? Where they
it
came
might
in,
be.
but...
I mean, it could go either way. Honestly, those bottles that she broke are probably just simple saline. I don't know. It's like I didn't. Again, this is the '80s, so things when I was in nursing in a hospital, everything went plastic. Everything was completely different.
more
Usually, the
modernized.
glass ampules and stuff were like things for I think I want to say it was for morphine or Haldol, probably morphine, where you have to break it and that's it because it's controlled where you can only break something and then that's it. You can't like hoard it, hide it. It's like a broken thing. It's done. Things like that. But anyway, yeah. So she got a little meltdown, maybe because she just had it.
And I think was she debating that she was like out of her mind for even trying to have sex with that guy? Is that what it was too? Because she's kind of like, I must be crazy. And then she actually goes like this, like the worst acting ever. She's like, I'm losing, like over exaggerated. I'm losing my mind. I'm going crazy. Like the worst overacting you've ever seen. I wonder if this really was a nurse.
All while in the med room.
Hey, where are you going?
I'll tell you where I'm going. I'm going crazy.
Well, it's like, oh yeah, you have never acted before. Come on. Jason comes alive because, David, did you notice when he actually does put his body away in the cooler, you see a breath all of a sudden? I never noticed that before, but this viewing, I noticed right as he closes I don't know what the technical term is, the ice vault where they keep the bodies and Jason's breath you see as soon as the door closes, so it signifies that he came back to life.
But at the same time, he doesn't fully close the door either. There is a latch on those doors. Now, yes. Jason would have had to have kicked it open, which would have given him maybe ample time to run, to get out. I mean, this is also a good tale to tell. If you do your job, do it right the first time, or you might die.
Lock the damn door. He was too busy watching his sex videos and worrying about the nurse to do anything. The following afternoon, David, a group of teenagers drive to Crystal Lake for the weekend, having rented a house at the edge of the forest. The group consists of Paul, his girlfriend Samantha, Doug and Sarah, who are mutually attracted, Jokester, Ted, and Jimmy, who Ted bullies over a recent breakup.
McFly. It's Crispin Glover. I put playing a nerd typecast. Did you not feel like he was playing
himself?
McFly from Back to the Future with even the way he was dressing, it had a very reminiscent of back in whatever the 50s, a soda, what do they call them, soda jerks at the thing. I feel like his clothes were a little bit, I got that from him. I don't know.
Other than he was more of a nerdy quote unquote character, but Crispin Glover, I swear to God, he can only play one thing.
He looked cute in the movie. He looked cute.
I think he's honestly, I agree, David. I think he's an attractive man, but then you get into the Charlie's Angels where he plays the thin man and the
creepy thin man
with the rat Wilford later on, and he plays those kinds of roles. But I think he's an adorable guy in this movie. Out of all of them, there's that one guy, David, the guy who's in the shower later. They call him a handsome man, but he's kind of got it's like a cartoon character of a handsome man. He's got these strong jaw lines.
He's cute.
And then we get another dude who's got glasses, and then we get Ted, who they're saying is a jokester, but he's kind of he's got his little jean jacket on. He's the one who says that Crispin Glover's a dead
fuck. He goes, let me get into my computer. Boop 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 boop. And he's pretending he's typing on a computer. That's the best. It says here that you're a dead fuck.
So the whole movie, this poor character Jimmy is chasing this thing to prove that he's not.
He's like, am I a dead fuck? Do you think I'm a dead fuck?
Poor guy.
Dead fuck. And I'm like, oh my God, this poor guy.
This ruined this guy's life. I mean, unfortunately. They passed two things. They passed Pamela Voorhees' gravestone randomly on the side of the road.
But isn't that the same cemetery? Maybe it's beat down, the same cemetery we talked about in the first one, Monroeville, or
there was
Monroeville or something. Is that the same place? And of course, it has to be right in the front. Pamela's got her own the Voorhees family bought prime property for the gravestones back in the day before it got
The
popular.
street. You stop right in the street, you see him Pamela.
I would kind of want to do that for family if I had to be. I would want them to not have to get out of the car. They could just wave if they wanted to, throw a rose.
I don't like those cemeteries, David, that are just right off the road like that. I feel like people could just do anything. Like you said, throw trash, throw tomatoes. I'm surprised that Pamela's, knowing this whole mystique with her son dying, that Pamela's tomb didn't become like almost like a mecca for like kids that are maybe a little...
But you have to remember, this was a tale, this was a story that should never have been told. I honestly don't think that in the context of the movie that most of the stuff is covered up or viewed as folklore, that you don't even really know what's true. It's like, I heard he's 6 foot tall. I heard he's 8 foot tall. I heard that he has the face of a goat. Like there's always like these like ridiculous. I think you have to remember, we're talking about before the iPhone, before videotaping, before YouTube, before anything that became so popular. So it's only before being able to get to a telephone within miles. I mean, think about it. Think about if something happens. We have our cell phones. If our car breaks down, we don't even have to get out of the car. We can call for help or press the on store if you have that in your car or whatever.
So much easier nowadays.
So I think it's like more like legend. I don't think you really know who did what and
like
when.
You said, folklore. Like that makes more sense. So they also pass a hitchhiker, David. Did you like this woman with her?
She wanted to go to Canada?
She had that sign. Yeah, she wanted to go to Canada. And when they just like they beep at her and pass her by,
they're like, where are you gonna fit her or something like that? Now I don't know if that's because she was a little bit chunkier than the little bimbettes that usually, or just because they had no room.
It did actually look like the car was full, honestly. Well, when they pass her by, David, she flips that sign over and it says like what, like F you or something like that. And then so she goes right to eat a banana. The woman is instantly murdered. Jason's back. He's cleaning up his forest, like you said.
Back streets back. All right. So I want to know something. I want to know where the hospital is. This is something I wrote down that I really have to discuss, and I don't know where and when, but I'm just going to throw it out there. Where is the hospital situated to Crystal Lake? And the reason why I say this is because you're going to be introducing some new characters very shortly. Trish, her mom, and her brother. And I want to know I want to know where their cabin area is based. Okay, 1 and 2 is Jason just on the killing spree of America where he stops in every town?
Like he's on the way back to camp.
Yeah, like is he like, you know what? She's over there. I'll kill her. I mean, come on. I'm on my way back to Crystal. She's in Hazard County with the Dukes of Hazzard, but I'm going to kill her anyway because I'm on my way over to my part of the woods. Like,
isn't actually, you know what? This takes place in New Jersey? So isn't Michael Myers? I think is Haddonfield, New Jersey. So does he cross Michael Myers territory?
So let me tell you something. If it was Michael Myers in that ambulance on the way to
he would have drove.
He would have killed them before they even got there and would have hightailed it back. Jason's maybe in his older age is getting a little lazy. He's like, I'm going to take a while before I reanimate up in this place. Where
I don't blame him.
Michael Myers is like, I do not need to walk this far to get back to my house.
Honestly, you're right. Michael Myers seems to like just pop up.
He's like
maybe 2 minutes later, and he's up already.
He's like, I'm done. I'm not waiting for you to be. Is he alive? I'm just gonna get up. Jason's like,
Jason was out for at least a good hour, a few hours.
I'm gonna twitch. I'm gonna move. I'm gonna fall. I'm gonna whatever. I'm gonna take a little nap. So that's the difference.
He did actually get a good nap in. David, I had the same question, so I did a little investigation because I had 2 questions. Yes, the teenagers are renting a cabin, so that makes sense for the weekend.
Airbnb.
But it seemed, yes, early version. But to me, it seems like there's Trish and Tommy and her mother had too many things in that cabin to be renting it, unless it was a summer cabin. But it does say it's on the outskirts of Crystal Lake, these cabins. So
they're not part of Crystal Lake.
I guess it's like on the way. It's like not the camp, but it's right there.
It's Crystal Lake adjacent.
It's Crystal Lake light.
Do you remember? I my good, obviously my good friend Kathy. Shout out to Kathy. Remember where she lived?
In Crystal Lake. Was
Beach.
it Crystal Lake?
No,
Crystal Beach.
Right?
Crystal Geyser.
Beach. She lived in Crystal Geyser. You know where they bottle the water.
Kathy is a Friday horror fan. Well,
Oh my God, we
Friday.
used to go and see those shows. Twitch Productions, is that still in business? Where they would have like people dressed as like the characters and sit with you in the movie theater and like traumatize you while you're watching a horror movie. I love that. Shout out to Twitch Production.
They did not last long, but I remember we saw 28 Days Later and Dawn of the Dead with them, and they had like a zombie show. Yeah.
Wasn't Jason with us too, Friday the 13th? Maybe I went with Kathy alone.
There was one that kept coming. Do you remember that? And they would follow you into the bathroom. The zombies would follow you into the bathroom.
I just remember Jason opening his legs and man-spreading a lot next to Kathy.
Oh, Jason had the hots.
And he had a machete too. He was like, anyway. So I think that's lovely. I love them. I wish you could stay with a less love.
So these teenagers are moving in next door, and we get to see Trish and Tommy Jarvis. So the mother seems really lovely. She's like,
she
one
peers
of those...
through the window like, I'm gonna have some trouble. Is there some sexting going on in here? My daughter better not go near them.
Did you see that? Her face kind of like when the kids appeared, she's looking, she's like, okay, there's a group of this teenagers.
Horny teenagers across the street.
Ding, 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 ding. It's like Dot Matrix from Spaceballs with she gets the alert.
Virgin control or virgin alarm or whatever.
Poor Joan Rivers.
Rest in peace, Joan.
We get to meet Tommy Jarvis, played by Mr. Corey Feldman, who he's unique.
I believe that
he's unique.
I believe that Corey Feldman was, not to put a negative spin, I believe he was molested by Hollywood producers and whatever, and I think that really messed him up. I think both the Coreys.
Oh yes,
I have very fond memories of Coreys. Both Coreys, but like everything from License to Drive to the Goonies to the Lost Boys.
Lost Boys, yeah.
I have really great memories of him. So he plays basically a kind
Tom Savini as a kid.
A monster, monster geek, but like cool because he can do all these. Maybe back in the day, or even now, maybe some kids wouldn't understand that. I would be totally amazed that he can create semi-realistic masks and different things out of nothing, like clay.
Really
talented. Extremely talented. So that's their dynamic. And Trish is a teenager. She comes up very responsible though, but she is tempted. She is tempted a little. She's like.
This is a nice family. They got a dog. They got a dog named Gordon. Tommy is this. Yeah, they would probably call him a geek, but he loves makeup.
So there's no dad in this. There's no dad,
no.
And you get the feeling that these people, again, me going probably off on one of my kind of, you get a feeling that these people have been without a dad, and they're very bonded together. Like they're close knit family. Like the brother steps up when he can, even though he's a kid, and the sister steps up to take care of the family and the mom. Like they're all like a very close knit family that was without a dad. It seems like that's what I get from them, because it's like they're
likable.
There's no arguing. There's no older sister being mad at the younger brother for being younger brother. Yeah, like there's none of that. There's like a very close knit, there's a love there. So I think that's beautiful. I think that's really great.
And it makes sense too with the plot later on, how they deal with things. So we got that set up. Also, David, around this area, there is a gentleman named Rob who's out there camping, saying that he's looking for bears. He's also another character that's out there.
At one point, I was looking for bears too, until I became one. There's a point where the car breaks down. Of course, the car breaks down in the middle of nowhere, and she sends poor Tommy, who's going to try to do this. But actually, he seemed to know what he was talking about.
He was really capable, right? He's like, oh, it needs a screwdriver, and she's like, oh, maybe in the trunk. And wasn't it crazy though?
She didn't flood the engine, right? I can't remember exactly what was going on. That doesn't happen anymore. You have fuel injectors now. You have different things in cars. But there was a point where the carburetor, and I don't know. I don't know what part of the car it was. I mean, I haven't worked on a car in years because I don't have to. I used to change my own oil and stuff. Who cares now? I just go to up the block. It's easier. But plus, new cars are so ready because you have to take apart the whole car just to do something to them.
They have to take the battery out too.
So
crazy.
He's working on it, and then all of a sudden, you notice that she gets a little bit creeped out. Hurry up, Tommy! She's looking around.
And it's just a normal road at this point. Yes, it's quiet. It's desolate.
She's comfortable with being that. And then all of a sudden comes Rob,
who helps start the car. But David, she immediately asks him if he needs a ride.
I say they meet the handsome Rob, hiker/hunter.
And he's got flannel. He's a flannel man.
He's a nice looking man, good looking guy.
She brings him home. And
this is
Tommy,
the best. She just walks in. Tommy's like, I want to show you my bedroom. He walks past the mother with this grown man, and she's like, what? Oh, he's fine. We just picked him up on the side of the road. He helped us. He got the car going. So the mother's like, I'm convinced.
She's fine.
Look at that fine.
She's like, I'm more worried about those teens over there. I got my eye on them, not this man that my child just brought past me.
Up into his bedroom.
He's fascinated by the masks. Rob is touching the mask, and in the meantime, Corey comes behind him with a tentacle and grabs his neck. So we're setting up that he's a puppeteer.
A young Ryan. Young Sheldon. Young Ryan.
Possibly. So we set them up, and then Rob says he's hunting these bears, so he goes back out, and Trish tells him,
if you need to take a shower or whatever,
always home.
And the door is always open.
I said no.
She said... Hotel, Motel, Holiday Inn. She said we're open 24/7 like 7-Eleven.
Sorry, that door is locked. I mean, yes, he was a really nice guy. Thank God he didn't kill them on the way, and he didn't do anything to
He's easy on the eyes.
Good-looking man. I think they're a little too... They don't know of really the world, maybe. How harsh the world could be at this point, I feel like.
Well, most people don't think a psychotic killer is coming for them and their family.
Yes, that's the last that they had to think of. But Trish also at one point meets the teens. This is actually earlier. They go down to the lake to swim, her and Tommy. And of course...
Skinny dipping. Is that when they meet the Doublemint twins?
Yes,
the twins,
okay.
And they go to the lake with them.
David, yes. There's also these twin girls who, I'm sorry, yes, I know there's a cliche with twins dressing as like, they literally have the same exact outfits.
Bikes.
And the same exact bikes and the same exact bathing suits when they kept the bathing suits on. It wasn't long that they kept them on. So they all go
both
skinny dipping.
Whorish.
One's more than the other.
Yes.
One is more than the other. So they're involved with this group and everyone goes skinny dipping as opposed to there's one girl who, is she a virgin? Or she's more innocent out of the other ones, like she's keeping her clothes on.
She's being modest. Tommy runs down and sees all that naked, and Trish covers his face and is like, she watching, but she ain't letting Tommy watch. They're like, come on in, Trish.
And she's like, what, it's too crowded for her or something like that?
So then they leave. But she's intrigued. She's piqued, and they invite her to, is that when they invite her to the party?
Tonight. Oh.
Tonight.
So we set that all up. Okay. Was it the night before, David? I just don't want to forget this scene where Tommy is in his bedroom and he's seeing the woman undress and he does a mating dance in his bed.
He's like overexcited. He can't believe he's going to get to see some boobies and stuff. He's like, yeah. And he's like beating his pillow. He's so excited, but he's embarrassed. Like he's excited, but he's embarrassed at the same time.
It's the craziest thing. Like he's about to see maybe some nudity. He's hitting these pillows. He's throwing his head down into the pillows. It's crazy. It's Corey Feldman. Only Corey Feldman could do this, I feel like.
And then
the mother comes in and he pretends to
be sleeping.
But so did she know that he was watching the window?
No, I almost thought that she did.
She sees the naked woman in the
window.
And
she's like, not that one. She rolls down the shade.
I knew they were going to be trouble.
My child's innocent.
Where do we go from here? Because after this, there's a lot that happens.
So Jason is making his killing spree. His way.
Yeah, Jason's on the way.
He's killing through the town. I mean, I don't know how fast he goes. I mean, on the treadmill, I can do about 3 miles in an hour. That's about it for me. It's like taking in some of the sights, seeing the trees, seeing if there's any other lakes around.
They have this party, David, that night. The twins are there. One is going with...
that silly guy that watches Teddy, who's trying to want to play with my teddy bear? Teddy with teddy bear? He's like, he has no game, and he thinks he's trying to get game, and he's trying to get laid. And
he's cute. I mean, they're all... As night falls, the teenagers begin their party with the company of their guests, Tina and Terry. As the group get acquainted with slow dance music, Samantha becomes angry with Paul when he shows no reluctance to dancing with one of the twins. To ease her frustration, she heads outside to go skinny dipping. Noticing a raft floating in the lake, she swims to it to relax. Not only was it night, okay, so let's just say there's no killer, whatever the case is, night in general, but it was not a normal night, David. It was so foggy and atmospheric and like swamp-like.
Not for me, baby.
Parasites. I'm thinking of parasites in her.
Alligators, parasites, tapeworms, green algae.
Anyway, so she goes in the raft. She keeps thinking this guy is coming to to come for her. He ain't, and every time she's like, screw you! She gets murdered, she gets stabbed. This movie, Jason and his mother love to stab people from below.
Through the throat, typically, or the chest.
God.
It's a thing
so
for them.
She gets killed, but so this guy that she's with comes to his senses all of a sudden, right?
It's like, I can't hurt her, I can't do this.
After clearly flirting with her continuously, slow dancing with her. So he runs out to find her. He thinks she's in the raft. He also gets murdered. The other twin, this woman was not going down without having sex this night. So she starts with Ted. She goes to this guy. Then she goes to our Crispin Glover next. The other sister is
says,
like, no.
He's like, I thought you wanted to be with the other guy. And she's like, well, now I want to be with you. So she takes him upstairs to
Is
to
this
have
one
sex.
generous, David? Is this she's just generous?
She's not slutty. She's just generous. That's what we called it back in the day. Just being generous. So
I mean, it's nice for the character, but holy crap.
Stupid dancing. He dances with her like this weird, like, oh my god.
Raptor dance.
They did this skit on SNL a long time ago. These supposed to be like these German techno dancing. That's what it was like. Basically what it was. So she goes upstairs to bang him. Then Teddy's alone with the not so slutty twin. And basically tries to use his moves on her. And she's like, no. She goes upstairs to tell the sister she wants to leave. And she's like, well, you can just go by yourself. Pack a raincoat because it's raining.
Isn't that sock? And at first I'm like, wait, is she driving a car? And then David, they cut to her. She's putting her rain jacket on and she's going on her bike. She was gonna drive that bike home in the rain, but she don't make it.
He kills her instantly. Jason gets her. He's like,
So again, she didn't do nothing. She was.
But this is the end. This is supposed to be the last one. The body count has to be high.
That's true.
He's taking no prisoners.
She's gone. At the same time, the girl who was a little more, the guy is flirting with her. The guy we mentioned earlier with the cartoon handsome face.
Mm-hmm. He's cute.
He's taking a shower. I think they only take a shower together, David, right? And
no,
I love this. She keeps because she keeps
his name is Peter. His real name is Peter Barton, I think.
She keeps the towel on, doesn't she? Like in the shower, or is that just for the camera?
And then you see in the picture, one leg is up, and she's pushed up against the glass.
I was like, the whole time I said, this girl's so modest. I love her. She kept her towel on in the shower.
No, he banging her.
So she goes to leave, and she's like, I think I'm in love.
Aww.
He gets killed in the shower. Oh my god.
But that's the funniest scene, because he's thinking it's the other guy. He's thinking it's Teddy, right?
Yes, and he's like, I dropped the soap.
I dropped the soap. Come on in. He's actually inviting him in, isn't he? He does. He says you.
And who was it he was saying that to? I forgot which character.
Was it Teddy? Was it Crispin's character?
Maybe it was Teddy. I could see Teddy doing it too.
So he kills him. He right through the glass, right?
Ooh, yes. And then later on, his head is in glass. Oh, we should mention that Trish and Tommy's mother comes back when the car has broken down earlier from her jog in the rain, and the electricity is off, and she can't find them or the dog.
You don't see her from her anymore, so she's gone.
Felt so bad because she seemed like a decent family. So other Doublemint twin, she goes for a minute to refreshen herself, and in the meantime, Crispin Glover goes down to celebrate. He tells the guy, guess what?
Here's her panties. I'm not a dead F. And this guy's been watching old.
Oh yeah, what was that
pornographic silent films from the 20s or something on a real film, which is funny.
And I guess they were also
high.
They were high, so he was laughing. He was so infatuated by these movies, laughing at. I wonder why the other twin didn't want to stick around for this, right? Crispin Glover goes into the kitchen to celebrate. Jason sticks a wine opener in
He's like, where's the wine opener? Where's the can? Where's that opener you kept saying, the good one? And then he kills him with the wine opener.
Oh, that was terrible. The other twin, David, this was traumatic to me. She's looking out the window to see her sister. Yes, David. Okay.
So this is the part. This is the part that starts the whole don't go near the windows. Because everyone and everything gets thrown either through a window or out a window.
Oh my god. It's amazing. I was actually shocked by this part because it happens so quick.
Crispin Glover's character, the dead F, gets killed in the kitchen. Meanwhile, she's looking for him. She goes back into the bedroom where they did it, and
she's looking for another man.
She starts looking out the window, and it's really rainy and nasty. And then she finally realized that her sister's bike is still there, and all of a sudden she gets pulled He smashes and pulls her through the window and flings her.
I mean, not only does the glass break, but she hits the car below.
Bump.
Oh my god. Not only is the rain fly off, glass, she crushes the top of this car.
She's crushing it, killing it.
She totally crushed it. Yes. So she is now gone. Ted is watching the movies and he is stabbed in
So what happens is the movie, he gets up, he's looking at the movie, getting closer to the screen, acting weird because he's high and whatever. The movie reel either snaps or ends. He goes up to the screen and a knife comes through the screen and kills him, right? So he's dead.
So now this is officially every teen in this cabin has been murdered at this point. The girl who was like the one who said, I think I'm in love, the sweet, innocent girl, she's murdered someplace too. I don't remember how she's killed, but she is killed at some point.
She's not even worth remembering.
Oh, she's not even.
She sees the body in the. No, she doesn't see the body.
No,
so she does get killed. We'll have to go back to that.
This becomes the Trish show at this point.
Trish and Tommy.
The mother's missing, right? So she thinks she's gonna go. The power's off. She says, "Get the power to work," because evidently Tommy knows everything. Cars, power. She goes to look for the guy.
She's
Rob.
like, "Get the jewelry finished that I had you make so that I can sell it while you're at it."
When I'm back, I want that done. I want the power on. I'm gonna find Mom. So she goes to the camp to find Rob. And right before this, David, Rob actually sees Jason, like Bigfoot, leaving his camp.
And doesn't Jason leave like a knife or something in his...
He like breaks his gun and his mat, like rips up his map and stuff.
He's like, you ain't getting nowhere.
So he's on alert because he sees Jason. So he goes away. Trish comes in the meantime, just decides to go into, I guess it's raining, she decides, because
to go into his tent, and she's like, maybe if he finds me laying here, I can't find my mother.
Soaking wet. And she's wearing like a Rose Nyland, like blue 80s dress. So she's completely soaked at this point.
Maybe he'll have at me.
I thought that. I guess she's like taking a rest from the rain for a minute, waiting for him. But you see a machete right behind her, a shadow, and you think it's Jason. And he cuts through the thing. And he's like, what are you doing here? And she must be like, oh my God. What did
I'm trying to meet my boyfriend. This is Brokeback Mountain.
I offered you a shower. And this is how you replay me. So he explains to her that his sister was murdered in a previous movie.
By Jason, and she says, well, he's gone. He says no, because the body is gone and people died in the hospital. Ooh. So yes, he's back. So
David, this is it. This is the grand finale. I need to hear all your thoughts on this because I want to know if Trish actually is up to your standards of survival.
We'll see.
They go home and Rob is with them. He goes home with them. They go into the basement.
So
because they're looking for.
They go to whose house are they going to? They go to the teenager's house.
Okay, so after checking on Tommy is okay, Trish, Rob, and the family dog Gordon. So you're right, David. Run over to the rental house to check on the teenagers. They find the house oddly empty. Rob and Trish first decide to go check the basement, but Trish leaves to head upstairs. After something frightens Gordon so much, he jumps out the window and runs away. So he does. Okay. This is a debate because we weren't sure if the dog was thrown
by Jason
or he's just like, I'm getting the hell out of here. The official synopsis actually says the dog jumps out the window.
He's like, bitch, boo, bye. You only gave me kibble. I wanted a steak, and I'm not gonna die for you. So much for man's best friend.
Yeah, because he's not seen for the rest of the movie, so he books it. Gordon leaves them.
Jason ain't gonna have at me.
Gordon.
So this is part of the whole way. This is another window scene. There's a third window scene, is there not?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Upstairs, Trish finds Doug's body with the shower still running. Finally forced to admit Jason is still alive, Trish runs back down to Rob. But as he is headed back upstairs, oh my God, yeah, this is creepy. The stairs collapse, of course, but Jason takes advantage and scuffle, grabbing Rob. Knowing he is unable to help, he urges Trish to get away. This man screams, "He's killing me! He's killing me! He's killing me! He's killing me!"
He's killing me.
I mean, he's
tells her to
trying to
get
tell
away.
Trish to leave, but I don't know if is that going to be your last words? He's killing me.
Well,
I was
listen, it's not the it's not the it's not the ghost whisperer. He said he loved you.
No, definitely not. He's killing me. But David, okay, so I took note here. Are you appreciative that the fact that she actually ran up and then said no, like she wanted to help him, and she runs back down with the machete that she picks up, or is she stupid?
He's dead by then.
But did you notice though? She goes back and
I
she's
would have. I honestly. Okay, so knowing the context of the movie, knowing that she would have died. I mean, if this was like reality and someone was being attacked in my basement and like it wasn't supernatural murderers, then I would just head down the stairs immediately, try to stop them from murdering the person.
Right.
But under this context, it's just kind of to me, it's like if she would have went down there right then, even if she had something in hand right then and there, he would have just killed both of them.
Right. And he's saying he's killing me, so she got warning. But David, Jason grabs her leg, and do you love how she used the machete? I feel like we would have. She's just like swinging this machete crazy into his hand, like hitting anything she can. Which,
yes. Well, listen, hey, it happens. She did something. She was smart enough to pick up a weapon, not a cardboard box.
Oh.
Not an empty cardboard box throwing at somebody like, oh.
And it was only Mrs. Voorhees, who was alive.
It was a short little lady.
I mean, she could wrestle with the best of us, but Trish grabs Rob's machete and runs home, and she starts nailing the door shut. David, I think that's points. I wouldn't even think of nailing the door shut. Not that it works, but she's like, Tommy, get me some nails, Tommy.
It's like reminiscent of the Night of the Living Dead.
Yes, I also got that.
Start hammering those. I give her props. She got a weapon. I give her props that she didn't just shut the door. You know, the attempt to keep him out is kind of, I mean, these cabins are like old and rickety. First of all, right. I would never be living in a place that the door is paper thin where you could just kick it in. If my 2-year-old, if my 3-year-old can kick the door in and open it, then it's not going to stop an average adult. So whatever, I digress. It's the movie, but I appreciate her. I appreciate her
thinking.
Would I have gone back at that point? No, because there's no reason to. He was like before, like with Rob, he was dead already. I'm sorry, Rob, you're dead.
Not our Rob, but
not our Rob.
The reinforced door, David, does little to help as Jason throws Rob's corpse through the window to get entry instead. Okay, so number 3.
So does window. Jason have a
window fetish?
Does Jason have an account with Safelite? Safelite repair. Throw a body through the through the window, down the stairs. Works.
As Jason gets inside, he throws a hammer at Trish, which misses her by an inch. Trish and Tommy run upstairs into Tommy's room, and she tells Tommy, grab the bookshelf and reinforce the door. Okay, great. But isn't there windows in that room for them to escape in? She was huddled in the corner at that point. Like, kind of saying...
I think when he threw the hammer at her, she was like almost a little bit defiant to him, right? She was stepping up to him.
Yeah.
So Trish ain't
give it to this. I gotta give it to Trish.
Trish's final girl.
Again, we did a conversation with this final lead too, and they battle these people with like bravery. Trish and Tommy's room. Jason starts hacking the door down with an axe, prompting Trish to smash Tommy's. Oh! David, she picks up, this is computer to monitor. I thought it was a TV. At first she was like, the monitors were heavier back then, but she couldn't pick up this computer monitor. But Jason's head in the door, I thought you would appreciate this.
I loved it.
She smashes his head into the TV.
That's amazing. Again, that's my type of girl. That's me.
Everything is a weapon, David?
Everything is a weapon. She smashes his head with the TV monitor, and those are heavy, so...
And it knocks him, but they have to pass Jason at this point. Like, she's in her cute little booties, her little boots, and she gets past his hand, and her and Tommy have to start, like, getting past him. So, Jason is not down for long, but Trish uses it to her advantage and lures him to the rental home to give Tommy time to escape, because they're in between. So, Jason's between them at this point, because she got past him, and Tommy's like, Trish! So, Jason looks at him, but she's like, no, Tommy, get away, and she runs across back into the rental home.
And he's running after her pretty fast. Jason's got his stride on. on now.
This time,
he got up his Peloton and starts running.
On his way out, Tommy finds some of Rob's newspaper clippings on Jason, especially a picture of Jason as a child, reading how Ginny, from part 2, overcame Jason a few days earlier. So this happened a few days earlier, part 2, and they didn't even have
a quarantine off. There was no police, nothing. They're like, oh, wow.
Lord. And because part 3 happens right after that too, which is where Jason is killed. So wow. Tommy begins shaving his head in the hopes that resembling Jason as a child could confuse him. Never in my life would have thought that. Trish returns to the house. Oh, wait. We need to add this, David. She goes into the renting house, and there's a part where one of the Doublemint twins is, like, I guess in the door. She won't pass that door. Like, she's, like, refuses to, like, go over that. So she decides to go through the window instead. Just to, like, she breaks the kitchen window originally to get through. Yeah. But then when she's back in here again...
Another window.
David, he got to the foot of the stairs, and Trish takes a running jump and throws herself out of the window.
To escape.
This is like the 4th, 5th window at this point, and she lands.
Hardcore. She's hardcore.
Oh my god, she lands though with such force again.
But I'm going to tell you something. That is one hardcore lady. And then secondly, she does a Jason. By the time he gets down, she's gone from the spot.
Yes, I love that. Jason, enters the...
He rips that body down, by the way. Who has time to nail up a body, by the way? Why would you even bother? Is that like, oh no, you can't come, this house is cleared, you can't come in here?
Well, it stopped her originally. That was one of the things that she
was
like, oh no!
I would have crawled right beneath that body.
Oh yeah, right through the legs at that point.
Whatever.
But this was earlier on. This is before she had to jump through a window. So at that point, I guess she would have probably crawled through the body.
So this window count. Ding, 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 ding. How many windows are we up to? 5?
Oh my god. The dog. Jason throwing Rob. The Doublemint twins.
Breaking the window to get out, right?
To get out.
To get in.
To get in.
So 5? Are we up to
about
5?
5 so far, yeah. 5 windows actions. Wow. So when in doubt, a window will either save you from Jason or lure
Jason
you
will come for you through the window.
Through a window. So Trish returns to the house weekend after falling through the rental home's 2nd-story window. Finding Tommy is still in the house, she becomes distressed. She's like, Tommy,
I told you to go.
Leave? Jason enters the home once again, and a tired Trish swings the machete twice at him.
She's like, didn't she say, I'm going to give you something
to remember me by? Oh, and she slices his fingers in 2.
Good.
As Jason begins strangling Trish, Tommy runs downstairs completely bald. Did he also add dark circles under his eyes?
I think so.
Was that just because how pale?
I don't know, but
he looks psychotic.
He looks good. I mean, he looks good for the part.
Completely bald and calls out to him. The plan works, and Jason is transfixed, as he was with Ginny, pretended to be Pamela in part 2. Trish swings the machete again, but only scrapes Jason's face and cuts off his hockey mask. Trish is horrified by Jason's deformed face and drops the machete, giving him an opportunity to finally kill her. To protect his sister, Tommy grabs the machete instead and drives it into Jason's skull, which he finally collapses from, forcing the blade further into his head. Jason kind of like slides down the machete, believing it is all over. Tommy and Trish embrace. However, seeing Jason's hand twitch, Tommy grabs the machete once more and begins hacking the body repeatedly, shouting, "Die!" over and over again.
That's me. I wouldn't have stopped until he was decapitated, and then I would have went for his hand, his ankles. They would have thought I was the killer, because I would have went berserk on him. There would have been nothing left.
Would you have done... I mean, at this point, I guess this is still early on that he's dead, but he came back. They don't know, but this is like Jeepers Creepers territory. Separate the head from the body, from the legs, put the head in cement, something. Separate, yes. So, is it me, or did Trish not see the hand moving, so she thinks Tommy's just gone crazy? And
this always happens in these slasher supernatural movies, where the one person who may have gone a little unhinged or is like, I am not gonna die today, no Satan, not today Satan, and they go all crazy on this killer, has to be pushed or pulled by the person. Like, I would punch her in the... She didn't really stop him though. She was just like, Tommy.
I think she was worried for his like mental thing, but at that point, just go for it.
Please. That part in Jeepers Creepers where the brother stops her, I would have kept rolling the car over until that Jeepers Creepers dude was basically a flat smear over and over and over again.
Powder!
Yeah, exactly, because you ain't getting up, boo.
Film cuts to days later where Trish, recovering on a hospital bed, is asking doctors what happened with Tommy. The doctor assures her that there was nothing abnormal in his behavior. Tommy has his hair growing slowly, enters the room. The two hug once more. The camera then cuts to Tommy looking back with a cold stare.
Which is going to be the whole... I'm now going to become Jason, or like Michael Myers with the sister, the little girl or whatever.
Right.
That's going to be the new Michael Myers.
They do kind of attempt allude, but Tommy eventually is played by the guy who's in Return of the Living Dead 1 and 2, and he's a hero, so he doesn't become Jason. So, spoiler. So, David, the alternate ending to this movie. In the 2009 Deluxe Edition, there's a dream sequence which shows Trish and Tommy waking up the next morning after killing Jason to the sound of police sirens. Trish sends Tommy to summon the police who have arrived next door. At this point, she notices water dripping from the ceiling. Oh god, and goes to investigate. She enters the upstairs bathroom and finds the body of her mother. Oh, drowned in the bathtub and begins to cry. Oh. Wow, this was actually filmed. I would love to have seen this. At that moment, Miss Jarvis's eyes open, revealing demonic white eyes. As Trish turns around, Jason appears behind her and strikes her down. Trish then suddenly wakes up in the hospital and is seen reminiscent of the original movie. In the commentary, the director says the scene was cut because it interfered with the idea that this would be the final film. I wonder if that would have been his mother then, possessed Pamela.
Probably.
There's a few other facts about this movie. As we mentioned earlier, makeup artist Tom Savini had done the makeup in the original film, agreed to do the makeup in the film under the condition that Jason would be killed off for good. As Jason eventually came back, Savini claims that the killer in the subsequent movies was not my Jason Voorhees. This is the first film in the franchise to have more than one person survive Jason's attack. So that's also good. So David, what do you think about this movie? I actually like it. If it would have been an ending, I think if they didn't have the ending with Tommy Jarvis with the whole staring, I'm now a psycho, I would have liked it as an ending.
I think it was fitting to the whole movie. I mean, it's nice to see that someone survived. It's nice, but you know, most horror movies leave it open so that in case they ever want to do another movie, and so it's kind of like they could have done it where everyone died at the end, then Jason walks off into the sunset back into Crystal Lake.
He's complete, yeah.
You know, waiting to come again, you know, so to speak. But no, I liked it. I thought it was actually pretty good. You know, it's definitely indicative of like the time that it was done in, and I love that fact that Savini still, you know, did it. I mean, that's like
so in his mind, the Jason that comes back is not Jason Voorhees.
Isn't he considered a copycat? Didn't they say that? Or
the next movie is a copycat, but Jason does come back to life.
I know.
Wow, David, this says, though it was supposedly going to be the final film of the franchise, the enormous box office, it grossed $33 million on a budget of $2.8 million. So that's a successful.
It was the Titanic of horror films for the time.
The next film entry, called Friday the 13th, A New Beginning, released only a year later, was directed by someone differently. They were going to do it as a different killer in every movie after Jason, was the idea, but they did not go with that, which I think it wouldn't have had the iconic appeal. Yes, it would have killed off the Jason character. It wouldn't have been this ongoing thing, but
the only way they could have done that for me, and it still wouldn't have been so great, because would be that if the embodiment or spirit of Jason jumped from body to body, like at the end of the movie, like the survivor becomes the Jason or something to that effect or whatever. But other than that, I mean, we love Jason, and later on when you do that, even the Jason versus Freddy, the reason why it works is because of that supernatural aspect of it. It wouldn't work otherwise. So iconic.
And we love our Jason. I mean, this is how we want it. We want the hockey mask. If you're having a Jason movie, if you want Freddy, you want to see the burnt face. I mean, it's not Mike. You get Michael Myers, you know.
When you say that, it's like, I just thought of Buffy when Michelle Trachtenberg is like, glory, 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 I want glory.
Die!
When she wants, what's his name, to become Glory.
Ben.
Anybody doesn't know that, I'm sorry, but that was funny.
So, as always, you can find David at Universal Appeal 2020, all one word, on Instagram. You can find the Radical Retro Podcast, one word, on Instagram. We're also available on YouTube in video format of the podcast and more. And don't forget, each week is a double summer fun with Rob's podcast, Movie Geek and Proud, where this week he's doing Holes, which...
Hey, what he does in his private time is none of my business. It's actually really popular. It's based on a book, I'm pretty sure.
Oh. So this is Detention Camp with Holes, and that will be on Wednesday, and then Rob will be back as well for Friday Part 5. Spoiler, it isn't over anytime soon. The final chapter was not the final chapter. We ain't even close to being
We're not even halfway through. No.
So Jason will continue, and all summer long, you will hear us talking about this man.
And Thundercats. Oh! On Saturdays.
Every other Saturday during the summer until we get back to our regularly scheduled
programming, whatever that is.
Thank you, Radical Ones.
Thank you.